Let's check out these new amp models in Fractal Audio's Quantum 10 firmware update for the AX8. I'm using AX8 Edit here, and the most important thing is once you've updated your firmware using Fractal Bot, do this, go to Settings, go to Refresh after new firmware, and hit that, because what it's going to do is have a look at all the different blocks, all the different things that are in there, and update it with the new amp. So you should be able to go and open up your amp selector, and you'll see here in the Friedman section we have this Friedman 18C45, Friedman 2018, Friedman BE-C45. They are three new Friedman models based on a 2018 Friedman Brown Eye. And then we've also got this Plexi 2204 model, which, where is that? Here it is, right underneath all the other Plexis. So this is kind of one of the 70s style, transition era between like the Plexis and the actual JCM 800 series. So this is a 50-watt circuit with a master volume. That's a pretty cool sounding amp. What I want to run you guys through really quickly with these, just a few things that you can do with these amps to dial them in. We will start with the Friedmans. And what I'm really liking about this update is it's just really good and easy to get great sounding tones at the stock settings. My favorite amp for the last little while has been the Atomica High, mostly because you can just turn it on with a good impulse. In this case, I'm using Justin York's York Audio, what is this, Recto 57MC. That's from the Bipolar Cab Pack. There's a really, really good just straight up IR of a Mesa cab with V30s and an SM57. And this is a Friedman 18C45 at the stock settings. Check it out. And for me, I could easily use that on a recording or take it to a gig. It sounds really good. Let's have a listen to the 2018 at the stock settings and how that differs. Sounds a bit darker. It feels a little bit squishier under the fingers, which I really like. Did I say darkier? Okay, so that one is definitely just a little bit darker sounding. It's sort of a little bit more saturated and compressed under the fingers, which I like. And then the BE-C45. And as you can hear there is a difference between the 18C45 and the BE-C45. The C45 switch from memory, you can kind of replicate this with any amp by using a filter block. I've actually got these settings saved, and using a tilt EQ. So it's basically like I used to do this before they had these models. So you set a tilt EQ somewhere around 700 hertz with 3 to 6 dB of gain, and you get a similar effect going on there. So that's a handy tip if you want to get that C45 thing going on with other amps, but it's really nice having them accurately baked in like they are here. So that's really, really cool for me anyway, because it means less tweaking. I can just fire up one of these Friedman models and I've got a really great hard rock tone. If you want to make it even better, just chuck a drive block in front of it. These are the sort of workhorse settings I always go on about. Let's go back. What have we got at the moment? So we've got the 18 C45, which I think sounds great, like this. Kind of sounds like a 5150 on steroids. What I like to do with these amps though is boost the bass a little bit, back off just a little bit of treble, say take it down to 4. And I actually quite like lowering the presence down to about, say, let's try 3 and have a listen to that. Just because at gig volumes, the presence control, I find, depending on the IR you're using, can be really, really harsh. So if you're using something like V30s, go easy on the presence control and you'll have a good time. So really simple little rig to set up. I'm digging this one at the moment, the Friedman 18C45 with the FET boost, this York Audio IR, and just very subtle tweaks. The other thing that sounds great on these Friedmans is using the built-in boost. Have a listen to that. That kind of thickens everything up, but it doesn't get too muddy. So I really like that. Between this Friedman 18 C45 and just a straight 2018 model, I'm having a good time. So those are the new Friedmans. We've also got this Plexi 2204, which I like to match up. I'll leave it with the same IR, but I think this one really shines with an impulse of greenbacks or something like that. We'll stick with this V30 thing though. So similar settings. Well, let's go back to the stock settings actually, because again, it sounds pretty good. It's got an AC/DC kind of thing going on here. Let's have a listen. As you can see there, basically, as you increase the master volume, the low end kind of gets a little bit flubbier, so you can compensate for that using the middle and the treble, and that, to me, is a great classic rock tone. So these new amps sound really, really good. The other feature that I found is there's a couple of amps I really didn't ever gel with, namely, like all of the Fender models. That might just be because I've only ever gigged with a Fender Blues Junior before, and I like the way that amp sounds, but I've never gigged with a Twin or anything like that, so I'm a bit of a Fender noob. But having said that, if you get into these like double verb amps, the vibrato one here is really cool, and all you have to do is, knock the bass down a little bit and basically leave the mids and treble around halfway, and you've got a straight up great Fender clean tone. And as you can hear there, winding up the input drive's pretty cool. This really likes, for me, I really like the blues OD, but you got to set the tone on 0 with this one. So tone on 0, level about halfway, and this turns the Fenders into an absolute blues machine. So you go from this. I'm digging the Fenders in Quantum 10. That's pretty cool. And hopefully from this little tutorial, that gives you a taste of the new amps and some of the new features that are going on. Basically the way the new modeling sounds, because there have been some, from what I understand, not some massive changes to the underlying algorithms, but they have incorporated some of the AX8 3 stuff. So there is going to be change. If you're turning on your AX8 and expecting all your patches to be unaffected, that's not going to be the case. Some will be brighter, some will have a bit more gain, some will have a bit more volume. So if you do want to go in and tweak, you're going to spend less time tweaking, more time actually playing and getting great tones. So there's that. Real quickly, I will show you this preset that I made with the BEC45. This is basically my gigging preset template. So I've got a wah block in here where I have knocked down the maximum frequency to about 1400 hertz. Then I've got the workhorse drive on with the tone down to 7 and the low cut. Whoops, I don't want to move that. The low cut basically off. And then the amp settings, you can see, I've knocked the treble down and the presence down quite a bit. Oh, I want to leave that there. I've got to stop clicking things. I'm getting too excited. So I'll leave the presence at about 1. And you can see the input drive at 6. I've got the boost assigned to a control switch so that when I go to scene 4, my lead scene, the boost turns on, which is pretty cool. And I also have a rotary speaker in there on scene 3 and a lead delay or a rhythmic delay. So I'll just go through the 4 scenes and the way I use them. There's number 1, just the straight up rhythm sound that I need for ragdoll gigs. And then scene 5 I have set up as an alternate lead scene where instead of using the 2018 C45 model, I've just got the straight up BE model. So that is how I run my gigging preset with that. I'm really digging the way this sounds, and I'm using this impulse response that I made. So I'm going to export this preset as a bundle. Look at this, because I always say I'm going to do this and then I forget about it. So export preset cab bundle. This is going to go up in the video description before the video is published. I promise I'll put it up. So you can see here, let's see where I'm going to save this. I'll save this in my Dropbox with all my other, as you can see here, lots and lots of stuff with Leon Todd on there. We'll go into the Quantum 10 presets and I'll save it in there. I'm going to link you guys this up and you can grab this preset if you want to play around with it. Until then, have a great time, be excellent to one another, and I will see you guys very soon.